What's good, y'all? It's Bible Stories Revisited. It's been a little while as usual. I kind of already gave y'all like a recap of why I don't really post on here that much. I'm at peace. Like, these people can think what they want. It's like I can give like, and it's like this was my idea with this channel. Like, even though like I'm kind of past this, like I wanted to like show other people the reason why like I'm so confidently past this and like, show examples and stuff like that. But every time I'm mentally there, it brings me back to a pace where I wasn't at the peace that I am at right now. And it's like, would I really want to do that to myself in this current state? Nope. And that's why I don't really post that much. But I feel like every now and then I should step by here and just like show y'all what it is and stuff like that. And like maybe I will, like if I get like certain videos get traction and stuff like that, or like I might come back and redo some stuff. But hey, for the most part, I can't guarantee that there will be more than 30 videos a year on this channel. That's still good for like certain like content, but I know like in this space, like I know there are many other better creators that you should watch that post every single day and give that type of content. But I may do something like I saw like this creator Posh who like reacted to different agnostic channels and kind of did that. I could do that. That could be something I do, but yeah. I liked this title because this is kind of where I'm at right now. But I like Cam James and his crash outs. I want to hear what he has to say, and then like if there's a lot of feedback or any, I'll give my feedback and shit like that. And what else? What else? What else? I think that's about it. Hopefully, y'all don't really hear the music in the background too much, or I don't get copyrighted for it. But I don't think it's that loud, so it should be good. Um, if this video even saves either, so we'll see, bro. With that being said, let's get into it. Hey,
I,
hey,
I'm highly aware that I have no obligation to share anything from my personal life on YouTube.
none of
Nobody
us do
does. I've definitely learned
exactly.
that lesson over the past few years or so.
Literally, what I was talking about in the first three
When I
minutes.
choose to do
Like,
so, it's always coming from a place of, look, I've been through this. I'm struggling through this right now. And it might be able to help these
see,
thousands of people that are watching my work
same.
who reach out sometimes via
Except it's not even thousands. I just thought maybe there's somebody out there who had my same exact way of life, and I don't even if nobody like watches this channel, which like it won't do nothing for me. Like, this is kind of me just putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? If it reaches the right person, it does. If it doesn't, cool. It don't matter. It was good for me, and that's kind of the thing. Like, if it's good for me, I know it might be good for someone else who may relate to me, and like maybe they may needed to hear someone just like them say their way of life. You know what I'm saying? Or like what they went through in a way. It does a lot. Just saying.
email and tell me that I'm a motivation for them or I'm an inspiration for them. That's a big responsibility, and I don't take it lightly. But that's where I'm coming from. Hopefully, that perspective helps as we
That
start
yeah,
this discussion.
I understand.
This one's about religion. It's about where I land on that spectrum. Sirens. That's
Yep.
part of living in downtown Atlanta. And if I had to
Downtown
put a
Atlanta.
term to it, I would say I'm anti religious.
Yeah.
Nobody's born religious.
It's always
You're
indoctrinated.
introduced to it, and that's the kind way of putting it. Indoctrinated
Yep.
is another way that we
Indoctrinated.
could describe it.
That's what it is.
And you're not given much choice as to what religion you end up being. If you're born in one region of the world, you end up Christian. If you're born in one region of the world, you end up Muslim.
Or Hindu.
If you're
Or
ethnically
Buddhist.
Jewish and you're raised in that environment, you end up Jewish.
Yep.
Catholic, etc., all the denominations of Christianity, it applies to them too.
There's many
Same
of
with
them.
Islam. And
It's also Muslim, I believe.
all these denominations you end up in, of the religions you end up in, are not decisions. They're not conscious decisions that most people make.
It's
It's just a
culture.
byproduct of the life they lived and the community that they're surrounded by.
Yep.
At 14, I decided or rather, came to the conclusion that this wasn't making sense to me. I was forced to go to church when I visited my grandparents every summer. They were in the choir and
Okay.
wonderful people. You know, my extended family lives out there in
I'm
Kentucky
sure.
and Louisville, to be specific. And all of them were part of that environment. They were part of the
Mm-hmm.
church environment. That's just what you do in black families, is go to church. And it wasn't even really an option to not go to church.
You realize how much of the community or your specific community is entrenched in it, and it's hard to just back away from that. Because that sometimes, like, some people have even said this, like, I wouldn't say I entirely felt like this, but I could see how other people could feel like this. You feel like you're walking away from your family, even though it's just like an
That
ideology.
age. But through the Sunday school and then the joining the main congregation afterwards, as I got older, it just really became quickly apparent to me that I had questions that this religion couldn't answer, and that a lot of my questions were met with doubling down on faith and believing without seeing.
Yeah, that would be the main thing that would like usually pop up and stuff like that. Like, I'm really perceptive, so it's like when you ask certain questions that you know people don't have the answer to, it's almost like this. It's almost like a energy of like you said something forbidden, almost so like we just don't we don't even mentally go there. You know what I'm saying? And with a lot of that, you kind of just understand that like this is kind of how just a lot of people navigate a lot of things. You know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, they just keep on going with it. And this is why like I won't even say too much or like really say anything because I understand that everybody has their own way of doing stuff, right? And I would say coping with stuff too. And me being one who was really deep in that, I really can empathize and understand that. But I can understand that, at least for me personally, that's not something that benefits me in any capacity anymore. And that's kind of why it's a double edged sword. Like, I can easily say, like, yeah, it doesn't benefit me, and I can not affect anybody. But, like, I know with certain others in this, it feels like it's almost their duty to, even though if it doesn't fit that person, they have to make it fit. You have to. This is just what it is, and if you question it too much, you are kind of met with that.
And just things that I couldn't rationally accept for myself. And I decided back then that I wasn't going to church anymore. It actually led to a fist fight with my grandfather, which is a whole separate story. But I've accepted now at 36, 22 years later, that all the wrestling I've done with myself in the interim to pretend that I'm religious, to fit within this dichotomy in order to date successfully, in order to fit in my community and my environment that I find myself in, all of that has been delaying an inevitability, which is me looking in the mirror and deciding that no, you need to be publicly anti-religious. The reason I'm ducking around the word atheism
Very negative
is
connotation.
that I don't think that term needs to exist. I would equate it to, and this is not even an argument I came up with originally, I would equate it to waking up and claiming that you're not an astrologer and then needing a word to describe that. We don't have one because it's the default position. Thinking you can read.
And this is also another thing. Let me see if I can look this up right now for y'all. Google. Just to make sure I'm correct, right? Because I believe that was a Christian term at first. Philosophical rejection. It could have been. See, like, I could be wrong, but I feel like I heard this somewhere before. Before? Um, Ancient Greece thinkers like Democritus, Pythagoras, um, Epicureanism, that the divine intervention. So let me see here. Philosophers like to propose that the universe. Okay, so I'm glad I didn't just say wrong information and just looked it up first. You know what I'm saying? But because that does make sense. It was just I thought the term like atheist was at first like Christian, and then like it changed, but it could be different. Like as far as because I guess like see now I really gotta look this up. Hold up. So theism, right? Theism origin. Look, see, they say I'm asking too many questions. Go on ahead, man. I don't care. Theism is German and Dutch origin, which is short. The Mathes can be traced. Hebrew name, gift of God. Okay, cause like you obviously like I'm trying to find like did theism predate Christianity? Because that would make sense of like just theism being like talking about any type of God, and then the y'all know basic English type shit. Um, the thing that I was trying to look up was what you call it. It was like um someone trying to allude that like um atheism was like a religious thing first. And I can kind of see that with this first thing, the gift of God, but still that's theism, not theism. So it's like it is what it is. I'm not gonna waste this whole video trying to look that up.
Into the movement of the planet and the stars and assign things and meaning to the human existence is pseudoscience. And likewise, there are parts of religions that are pseudoscience. There are parts of religion that are fables, that are myths. Christians would very quickly identify Greek mythology as just that, mythology, as myths.
Easily.
And
but then
the problem here is with all the miracles described in the Bible and all the words of these holy books, the Christian God doesn't have that many differences from Zeus.
Literally.
Zeus has impregnated women without another man being involved in the equation. Zeus.
All them Greek, all the Greek gods got freak.
Has struck people down for blaspheming.
Yep.
There's just countless parallels. He's all powerful. He's bitter. He's jealous, vain,
wrathful,
requires sacrifice. All these things that we see from the Christian God have direct parallels in the mythology of other religions.
Mm-hmm.
There's multiple gods in polytheistic religions, and all these main three that dominate the Western Hemisphere would look at those other religions and claim that all of them are going to hell. And then that brings us to the concept of heaven and hell. I don't think either one exists. I think they're both constructs of people. If you look at religions as being man-made, everything kind of falls into place.
Mm-hmm.
Heaven is a construct that helps us feel better about the fact that being devoted and being devout while on earth doesn't result in riches and positivity and health and wealth and all these things. right?
What was that saying from Nina Simone? Those people told you your heaven was up in the sky. Why they built their heaven here. Mm.
Some people suffer immensely despite being devout.
Yep.
So to convince yourself that God is all good, you have to convince
God, a
yourself that
special
there's going to be a
place.
payoff after this existence.
Yeah.
On the flip side, hell exists because those evil people that are persecuting those groups of people back in ancient times, thousands of years ago, nothing bad is happening to these bad people. So it must work like a test, a big test that if you fail,
And also, like, on top of that, it can also be used as like a scare tactic. Because I've also heard a lot of people be like, "Well, I'd rather believe and just die not knowing anything than die, I was wrong, and then
Power off.
I'm just burning in hell." And I'm like, see, that's kind of the problem right there. It's like you're saying this God is all good, they love you, but you are clearly scared, and that's kind of the point that the
you end up being separated from God. That's the technical definition of hell. And then burning for eternity is the cartoonish version of hell.
Yeah. Okay, that should have got your attention. Before you click onto your video, I want to tell you right now that I'm giving away a free ebook that'll help.
Why did you show your...
These are constructs made by people that reflect our desires and what we want to see in the world. That was evident to me when I was younger, and it's only become solidified ever since then, that this all makes sense. It falls into place. If you look at them all as being made by human beings, they all make perfect sense.
Yes.
They reflect the times. That's the only thing that would explain why our Bibles not only support slavery,
come on,
all over it,
yep,
but they also support the oppression of women, and the dominance of men, the patriarchy, that hierarchy, that's thoroughly supported. And this is not up for debate. There is no translation of these scriptures that gets you away from the oppression of women and the support for slavery. Impossible. It's just not possible. There's too many instances. Impossible. And it's not only that it's happening in the time of the Bible when these people were alive, God is commanding it. God is permitting it. God is setting rules for it.
And this was why, like, when I was in, like, Sunday school and stuff, they would try to, they had to, like, address slavery in the Bible because there's just so much slavery in the Bible. They had to, like, explain it away. And they would be like, there aren't really... They were straight up lying at this point. Because it's like, they're like, there aren't really slaves in the Bible. They're just, indentured servants. And then you realize that's only if you're an Israelite. If you are any other culture, you can be a slave for life, and God has those type of rules in the Bible as well. But of course, I only show you that one verse talking about the Israelites to try to explain it away. But if you read in the Bible for yourself, you're going to see many verses of people who were slaves for life. Sexual slaves too. You know what I'm saying? Them concubines. Say what you want to say about that. I don't think all 10 wives really wanted David. I think David conquered some wives, and yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
There are rules about how to properly
There's some other
enslave
stuff I could say
people
about
and how
David
to
too,
conduct it ethically.
That's a whole hour video.
There's no such thing as ethical
about David. Oh my God.
And so if you insist that this God is all good and all powerful and omnipresent, then the argument that that's just the way it was back then doesn't hold water. God is eternal. Should be able to foresee that this slavery thing is highly unethical.
Like, just think about being outside of time and then saying that's just the way the time was. If you are a being that is outside of time, you are seeing all times for what they are, so you know how the present is going to be, even relative to the past. And you should prove your omnipresence by even having something back then actually reflect today and now. That would be something crazy. That would be something mind blowing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's just a microcosm of the source of my lack of belief in this doctrine. I think it's the source of a lot of hurt and harm and pain. Historically, that's irrefutable as well, with the Crusades and the religious wars that continue through today. Missionary work, which is just the extension of imperialism, of American imperialism in our case.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. Because I never looked at mission work. I won't say I never, because when when I was naive and I wasn't educated, I was like, oh yeah, they're doing good, they're spreading the word. But like when I actually learned, I'm like, oh, this is not good at all. This is actually doing zero good. This is actually doing like barely any good at all. And yeah, you realize what it is: imperialism, just watered down a little.
It was used to brainwash
and that's why, oh my gosh, that's why Nigeria and Sudan, Free Sudan, is the way it is right now. All that mission work, and Sudan's still poor. I guess Nigeria got a little bit of a bag, but like they still, the way they be treating. Don't let me get into it. Don't let me don't let me get into it. But yeah, it's so bad.
people upon being brought here to the Americas. So there's just a mountain of evidence that these are man-made systems used to control people, as opposed to the inexorable truth of the world. And that's what religious people believe. They believe these books are the divine word of God. When the people who wrote these books weren't alive at the same time as Jesus, that's universally agreed on by even biblical scholars. And these books are fundamentally incompatible with science. They don't work.
Literally.
And there's whole denominations that claim wild things. I'm not even going to ascribe to the general religion, like the fact that dinosaurs didn't exist and the earth is however many years old, however many thousand years old, instead of the 6, hundreds of millions that it actually is.
Yeah, just crazy.
We're at a place where our country is being run by these people. It's being run by religious people.
Yeah.
We effectively live in a theocracy in America, which highlights the fact that religions are not inherently good. They do not inherently bring people together and make the world a better place.
You feel me?
Some of the countries that index highest for general happiness and lack of armed conflict are the most atheistic.
Yep.
Australia, Denmark, Nordic countries, Europe in general is less religious than what we have going on over here. And we're the biggest warmongers on the planet. We're the source for most of the armed conflict.
I always want to kickstart that revelation
across the world, because we have the most military bases across the world. I'm rattling all this off the top of my head. These are just things that I've thought about for decades and listened to scholars on both sides, religious scholars, non-religious scholars. And while I would technically classify as an agnostic atheist if you want to nail down my beliefs, because I don't believe in the existence of a God, and I'm also comfortable saying I don't know if there's a God or not.
Yep.
A Gnostic, on the other hand, would say that they know for sure that there is no God, and that agnostic-Gnostic dichotomy also applies to theism. There's people who are religious and know for sure there's a God, and there's people who say they don't know, but they know that a God exists, but they don't know much about that God, or they can't be sure. That confuses me a little bit. How can you be a theist and also be agnostic? But anyway, it's complex. Being a human is complex. These systems build up so much community and belonging and well-being, while simultaneously oppressing groups in just a sweeping, massive, harmful way. Yeah. And they somehow balance that by claiming
it's crazy.
That's how God is.
It's really crazy.
It's just the rules. We're just following them. It may seem cruel that babies get cancer. It may seem cruel that people who are devout have the most terrible things done to them across the world, and that God could stop it but chooses not to. But that's just how
Explain
God
it
works.
away.
We're just
Explain
puny
it away.
humans, and we can't understand why he would do these things, or why he is a he in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of confusing aspects, right, that I'm walking through with y'all as I kind of talk out loud, or think out loud. But it's just a conflict I've wrestled with for a long time. And I have to finally admit to myself that this is not something that reflects my view on the world. And there's a real cost for that. I'm going to lose subscribers, probably right now as we speak. I'm going to lose friends.
Yep.
I'm friends with a couple of devout couples, and I love them dearly. These people have become important to me, and I will suffer without them in my life. I will be even more isolated. But if they react to what I'm saying here and what I've said in other videos in a way that convinces them that I'm no longer a person that needs to be in their community, then I'm going to pay that price.
Yep.
And that's going to hurt. It's going to suck.
Yeah.
On the flip side, I've been trying to date. And when I try to date people who are religious,
I'm trying not to talk about it.
it's always me trying to bend myself into a pretzel to accept their view on the world. There's been several instances in my life where I've had to take a stand and admit something to myself. Admit that I believe or don't believe something. Use my platform for good to affirm people who
I have no idea how much
are underrepresented or oppressed.
Shit.
I've been outspoken as an ally of the queer community, which I see as a parallel to this situation, right? When you come out as homosexual, bisexual, asexual, anything that diverges from the norm, transgender, you're met with a lot of ostracization, right? Being removed from your families in some cases, being villainized, being criticized, being insulted. I would say the violence is heavier towards the queer community than it is towards people who are non-religious. But besides that, the parallels are strong.
Yeah.
But it's something that is worth standing up for in my eyes as
I'm saying that
cis hetero man. I think my duty is to carry some of their burden on my back. And that was the same decision I made when I made the video about fraternity hazing. It's wrong. It shouldn't have happened to me. I shouldn't have done it to other people. And young people coming up behind me, some of whom are pledging now and were in pre-K when I pledged, they should know what they're getting into. What's happening to them is inappropriate and potentially fatal. And I felt a responsibility.
What they be doing to these niggas when they be getting hazed, bro?
Like,
holy shit.
If I didn't say something, then I'm part of the problem. Like, that's how I've always seen it.
That's crazy.
What if
I might have to watch that hazing video. Because what the fuck have y'all been doing?
You and your and in addition,
what the fuck have y'all been doing in the fraternities, bro? Because I keep on seeing shit of niggas getting arrested, the fraternity shut down.
It's more than just me venting about my personal life and my struggles. I think I'll be okay. I'm monogamous, so I only need to find one person to date, even though trying to date black women as a non-religious person is like pulling teeth, especially in the Bible Belt where I live. But I'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm relatively privileged compared to other people in these positions, especially people in the queer community who have to come out. I'll be fine. But there's people watching this who won't be, unless they're given the strength or the reassurance that who they are is okay, that what they're choosing to do with their life is okay, and that their belief or lack of belief in these systems is also okay.
Yeah.
You know, to make it plain, I think religious systems, religious institutions are problematic. I think they've caused more harm than good.
That is the conclusion.
And I think while they give individual people something to aspire to, something to live their lives by, and use as a guiding light,
That's the
They
positive.
also separate us inherently
Mm-hmm.
because of that doctrine that comes from those books.
Yeah.
I could talk forever about this, at
Literally.
length, but
You've been
I think I've
spitting.
achieved the main purpose, which is to clarify where I stand. I think in previous iterations of my discussions around this topic, I've made it clear that I think intelligent design is a thing because black women exist, and I'm not completely refuting that.
Yeah.
I still only date black women, they're the only people I'm interested in, so I do think they're that special. But I
Nice.
am revising my statement about intelligent design, which was half tongue in cheek, to be very completely honest about where I am. I fully accepted that I'm not religious, and while I'm not fully comfortable with the term atheism, because again, I don't think it should exist, I'm absolutely an atheist.
Shout out you, man. It's a very brave thing to do, especially on your main platform. I'm on my 4th YouTube channel. This shit only got like 4 subscribers, maybe 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, every now and then, just because of my video titles, I get a couple Christians in here who I'll argue with, but like the main people, they don't be seeing this shit. But this how I usually, you know what I'm saying, say what I gotta say and shit like that. And I understand, like, yeah, that should be tough. You know what I'm saying? And like almost all the things that he said is kind of true. Like the, the the amount of seriousness, yeah, the amount of seriousness that these people take it. Like I can understand because I even took it serious, and it's like a lot of the things that didn't make sense. I had to. It was different. I didn't really get the freedom to just be like, oh yeah, I don't believe in this thing when I was growing up. So it's kind of like, even when things didn't make sense, I had to force myself to find a way to have it make sense because everybody around me was telling me, of course this makes sense, you know? And I was, every time like I would say something logical, it would seem like I was going against logic because I was the only one calling this shit out. So that really messed with my confidence, like in hindsight, because like even stuff that are like practical and seems like common sense, I had all these people around me convincing me that I was crazy, that I just wasn't looking hard enough. Just because they didn't want to come to terms with the questions that I was answering or asking because they knew that they couldn't answer it. And it's like, yeah, it's cool, I guess, bro, but that shit just sucks. That it still has such a strong hold on many communities and stuff like that, you know? But hey, it is what it is. At the end of the day, y'all just gotta do you. And understand that even though, like, whatever, especially if you're, like, in the South, times it may feel like you a little crazy just for being logical, but understand that, believe yourself, you know what I'm saying? And obviously, you're able to check these things. Like, I always encourage people, like, if you're having a question, actually read that thing with a solid mind, and you'll realize, what the fuck? Nigga, I'm tripping. Like, there are a couple good. I won't even out. Like, I'll say like 1/6 of the Bible has like. I can't even do that. One. 1/16 of the Bible has some good shit in it. The rest of that shit, bruh, is just Bronze Age. It's just, yeah, it's really telling up the time and like a whole lot. So it's like, just trust your gut and understand that you're not the only one, bro. But yeah, if this video saves, it does. If it doesn't, hey, I don't really care. It was just a